Today I'm going to show you how to fry a whole fish that's going to leave you with a very stunning centerpiece served with an Amazu Ponzu sauce. And as usual, all the ingredients will be listed in the description box down below. We're going to start with our Amazu. Here we have 1 cup of rice wine vinegar, half a cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Turn on the heat and give this a stir until all the salt and sugar dissolves and see some nice bubbles. Then that's it. It's done. Turn it off and we'll start on our ponzu. Here I have some soy sauce, mirin, and sake. Bring it up to a boil. Turn it off. We're going to add in our yuzu, a little strip of kombu, and I have some handashi, about a tablespoon or so. Then give this a nice stir and let this steep for about 30 minutes or so. And that's it. We're done. The fish I'm using today is a nice mangrove snapper that I caught last week down in the Keys. Now I did scale and gut this, and all you have to do now is just remove the fillets from the skeleton. Now, do your best to keep the head and the skeleton connected because we will coat this with potato starch and deep fry it, and it will help create a really amazing looking dish. And then once you have your fillets, you want to carefully cut off the rib bones and remove the pin bones. Okay, one more time to remove the ribs, just slide your knife under the rib bones and just very carefully glide right underneath the fish bones. Give this a cut, flip this around, and then to remove the pin bones, you cut on either side of this little line right here that you see. That's where all the pin bones are. Just flip it open and cut it off and you're done. You have a nice clean fillet to work with. This technique that I'm doing right here, I'm just making little incisions all the way up the flesh. That way the starch can get inside all the nooks and crannies to produce a really crispy fish. Cut your fish into 1-inch chunks and just season it with some salt and just set it aside. We're gonna prep our 2 garnishes. Here I have a red onion that I just cut in quarters. And I'm cutting the little bottom off so it lays flat. Then go ahead and slice this as thin as you can. And once that's done, I like to put it into a bowl with some ice and some water. That way it takes the bite off the onion and it keeps them really nice and crispy. Second garnish is just clean and picked cilantro leaves. And then once that's all done, we're gonna strain our ponzu. Now you have that little piece of kombu that's left over, go ahead and snack on it, it's delicious. And today I'm using potato starch to coat the fish, and all you wanna do is just use enough potato starch to make sure that all the bones and the head and everything is just completely dusted and coated in potato starch. Set that aside and then go ahead and do the same thing with our fish chunks. Make sure the potato starch gets into all the nooks and crannies. Give this a very thorough mix and make sure that the pieces of fish are completely covered in potato starch. Once that's done, go ahead, set this aside, and we're gonna heat up about 3 inches of peanut oil to about 350 degrees. And first we're gonna fry the skeleton. As you can see, I'm laying it against the side of the pot so it can curve, because that's the way I want it to stand onto the plate. You want to fry this fish until it is a nice dark golden brown. Now what I should have done is flipped it upside down instead of on its side, just like so. You want to fry this until it's really nice and dark golden brown and crispy. That way you don't have a flimsy skeleton. And as you can see, once we're done, we're going to put it onto a wire rack and let this cool while we bring our oil back up to temperature to about 360 degrees. And we're gonna fry our fish chunks. Gently put your fish in the hot oil and just give this a nice gentle stir. You wanna make sure that the fish doesn't stick together. And since today we're using potato starch, we're gonna be looking for a nice potato chip golden brown. This should take anywhere between 7 to 8 minutes to achieve this nice golden brown. Once it's done, take them out and put them onto a wire rack while we get ready to plate our dish. Now when you're done frying your pieces of fish, it should have a beautiful light golden brown color, just like this. Now, a wise chef once told me, fork don't lie. Now it's time to plate. We'll take our fish body, put it on the top of the plate, then a nice bed of mixed greens, and then carefully stack our fish pieces on top of each other. Now, the onions that we did earlier, I did drain and dry them, which is very important to do because you don't want to put wet onions on top of crispy fish. Now, all you gotta do is just put your onions on top, as much as you want, and then with our fresh picked cilantro leaves, garnish the top. Now with our sauce, we're gonna be doing a combination of our Amazu. So here I have about 2 tablespoons of the Amazu in a separate bowl, and then I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of our ponzu. Now, I like to keep the sauces separate, that way the fish doesn't get soggy. And then I did make a minor adjustment at the end. I added some fresh sliced jalapenos on the top, and look at this presentation. Stunning. Guys, that wasn't so bad, right? Our fried mangrove snapper, coated in potato starch, dressed with red onions, cilantro, some jalapenos I added at the last minute, and then our Amazu Ponzu sauce that we're gonna dip our fish in. Very, very stunning presentation. Hold on, look at that. Look at how nice and crispy this is. All right, let's listen to it. Just perfect. All right, let me get you guys the perfect bite. A little bit of onion, a little bit of cilantro, a little bit of the greens. We're gonna dip this into our Amazu Ponzu. And then, all right, you guys got some? Cool. So incredible. The flavors are so clean. The mangrove snapper, if you've never had mangrove snapper, it's a very delicate, white, flaky fish, right? So to all my friends up that only have access to freshwater fish, I think it's kind of like, I would compare it to like a perch, walleye, sauger, around one of those areas. The combination of all these flavors, the onion, the cilantro, the jalapeno, the Amazu Ponzu, oh man. Such an incredible, incredible dish. With the skeleton, I'm pulling off the collar or the comma or the shoulder, I guess. So here, the meat in this area is really, really rich, right? Kind of like the dark meat of the fish. So you just pull it off here and you just eat it. So delicious. There's not a lot of meat here. I would compare this to kind of like the cheek. So if you guys like fish cheeks, you'll definitely love this. Now, I love fishing, right? It's something that you guys probably don't know, but I do love fishing. I did catch this fish just about a week ago down in the Keys. I love to keep my fish whole. I just scale them and gut them, that's it, and clean them. Because when people fillet fish, they always get rid of this and they always get rid of the head and the body. Well, with the head and the body, you can definitely make fish stock. Or you can do a really cool presentation just like this. But people also throw this stuff away, right? And they don't take the cheeks out of the fish a lot of the times. You know, if it's big enough to have nice, you know, cheeks, they throw it all away. They just take the fillets. I think that's such a waste. This is how you should do it. If you catch your own fish, you should, you know, I think you should keep it whole. And then if you do want to fillet it, then, you know, you do have the skeleton and the head left over for making stock. I didn't really do a great job filleting the fish, so there is some meat left on the bone, but that's like, you know, you can just peel that off and just go to town on this. There's so much good meat left over on it. Well, technically there shouldn't be any good meat on it, but I did kind of a terrible job filleting a fish. But look at this. Super crispy. There you go. Just dip it in our Amazu Ponzu. Such a clean tasting dish. Very fresh, vibrant, textures just all over the map. Give this recipe a try. It's very simple. Right, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Guys, take care of yourselves out there. And as always, peace.